Yeah, hello guys, welcome to the newest edition of our logical control tutorials. So in this session we are going to be looking at the programmable pattern or logic pattern used in some of our circuit breakers today. Now, talking about what circuit breaker actually is, let's say we have an event of some sort that is actually happening continuously, like you think of it as a flow of event that is happening, and if that flow is not disrupted in a way, what we want to achieve now is to have something that will tell the flow to stop for a while or maybe for a given period of time. All right, just like we have experienced in our normal generating operation, where we have a breaker interrupting the electric current when it exceeds its design limitation, therefore preventing the supply of energy to the load and damage to the circuit. So here the circuit breaker works like an automatic switch which has a base value that switch off a circuit where it was installed whenever this value is exceeded, and those values are being achieved with JavaScript using logic programming. So guys, like I always say, some things are better explained practically. Like as you can see in my screen, I have provided code samples to buttress my point. So in our next session I am going to walk us through on what is happening in this code and logic behind our circuit breakers, okay, then so that we can have an insight of exactly what I'm trying to explain here. So still grab your cup of coffee, stay put and don't dot that dice. Thank you. We'll see in the next section. Okay guys, finally we are here, and we are going to be working with only two files. That is the headcheck.js file and the circuit breaker.js file. Even though there are other files, but we can let's work with these two for now. Maybe in our subsequent videos we can present those other files. Alright, so here we have our circuit breaker file and we have our head check file. So we are already in our head check file. Here the entire purpose of head check script is to make sure that the system is up and running. So head check are a way of asking a service on a particular server whether or not it's capable of performing work successfully. So here is a simple script. This script is a simple script that requires to keep track of the status, notified when there is a change in a state. The script will report and monitor the entire server, including the services of the servers and the statistics of the servers. So here we want to keep track of the circuits. We want to keep track of the circuit breaker status in the server. That's why we have declared variable here. Call it circuit breaker with assignment operator will require the value. Alright, the next line is our wait function, which is basically going to run the time out and resolve after a given time, so that we can wait, because we don't want to run like every milliseconds. Alright, so that is what is happening in this in the second code here. Alright, so the next one is our while loop. Alright, this while loop is gonna run forever, and it's gonna call the head check function here. Alright, it's gonna call the head check function, and which is gonna do the request to head check and wait for a seconds. Alright, so that is what is happening in this code. Now let's go to our check circuit breaker file. So we are in our circuit breaker file. Here we are required to fetch. Alright, that is why I have this variable, and I've used this I have called it fetch. I have named it fetch. Okay, now with assignment operator I require the value node fetch. Alright, Now we have some, the next line we have some kind of event tracking here. So this is going to track the events. This code here is going to track the events. Alright, so in the next line is we have two variables here called this is the variable, I've declared it here, call it a last failed call and the failed call. Alright, and set both of them to 0. Okay, now after that we return an object here. So we are returning an object that has a function called health check. Alright, we return an object that has a function called health check. Alright, so here there is a bit code, but I'm going to walk you through exactly what is happening in this code. Alright, so the first thing we are going to do first is to check the current time, which is what I've done here. I've checked the current time, that's why I've declared this variable. Now, call it now, then with assignment operator I call the date dot now. Alright, so after that we check if there is a failed call. Okay, we check here if this is where these conditionals, remember in our first video, in our previous videos we talked about conditional statements in JavaScript. Please, you can visit that video and know the meaning of conditional statements in JavaScript. So this is where we are applying it here in this code. Okay, we said if there is a failed call or the last call failed, the different and also the last time that caught the last time we had a failed call, which is greater or equals to 10,000 milliseconds here. Okay, we can call it 10 seconds. We simply like, if that is true, I mean less than or equals than 10 seconds, okay, we will simply log out and skip the call here and then return. Alright, this is where the circuit breaker comes in, guys. This is where the circuit breaker comes in, because the thing is that we don't want the rest of the code to keep returning over and over, because the event tracking which we saw earlier is going to send alerts to programmers or an idea to alert the system. And if we don't want to spam over and over with a bunch of alert messages on this is where the breaker comes in, because it's going to track it, and on that and know that, okay, the last call failed, I will wait for 10 seconds, then just keep the call or break the circuit. Yeah, alright guys, that's the logic. Now let's look at the rest of the code. Okay, so here we fetch the health check. Here we fetch the health check endpoint called Jackson here. Alright, and then after that we do some kind of event.health check. Alright, thereby checking the status, and basically what this is going to do is that it's going to send that status of our server to our server and see if it is going to work fine to our event tracking system. So here we call our external health check status a service, basically tracking that everything is working correct. Alright, and then we reset the failed call here to series so that whenever we can have a successful call. So guys, this is the end of this section. Meet you in our next section. Thank you.